Good news, affordable electric car fans, the Chevrolet Bolt is back, but not for long. So 2 years after production of the Chevrolet Bolt wrapped up in Michigan, with General Motors promising to relaunch it in 2 years from a factory in Kansas, it finally has. Chevy has unveiled the 2027 Bolt that's going to be going on sale early next year and built at its Fairfax assembly plant in Kansas. Now, if it looks very familiar, that's because it uses the same body as the discontinued Bolt EUV. The smaller Bolt EV has not returned. Chevy has updated the styling a little bit, but a casual observer probably wouldn't notice the difference. What is different is what powers it. Chevrolet switched from a lithium-ion battery pack to a lithium iron phosphate battery pack that's cheaper to make and more durable, but it also has a lower energy density, so it's heavier given the same capacity. In this case, it can hold 65 kilowatt hours, which General Motors says is good for a range of 255 miles per charge. That's 8 better than the old Bolt EUV. It also has a new front electric motor rated at 210 horsepower and 169 pound-feet of torque. The old Bolt was rated at 200 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. One big upgrade this gets is its charging speed. The last Bolt had a maximum charge rate of 50 kilowatts. This one is 150 kilowatts. Not the fastest in the industry, but that'll get you from 10 to 80% in 26 minutes. The last one could take over an hour. And now it comes from the factory with a Tesla-style NACS plug, so you can use it at Tesla supercharger stations without an adapter. The interior has also been redesigned with a new dashboard style and new digital displays. There's one for the instrument cluster and 11.3-inch touchscreen for the infotainment system, which, like all of Chevy's current electric vehicles, does not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto smartphone integration, but runs on the Google built-in system, which requires you to load apps into the vehicle instead of using them from your phone, but is also better integrated with the vehicle, so it knows what the charge state is, and Google Maps can work with the car to find the best routes and charging stations. As far as pricing is concerned, Chevrolet has pretty much held the line. The 2023 Bolt EUV started at $28,795, while the 2027 Bolt starts at $28,995, although the first vehicles available will be one trim level up and priced at $29,990. Sporty Bolt RS trim is also going to join the lineup at some point for $32,995. Unfortunately, none of these are going to be on sale for very long. Chevrolet is describing this as a limited run model, although it hasn't said exactly how limited that run is going to be. Sounds like what happened here is that Bolt fans go to Chevrolet into bringing it back in 2023 when President Biden was still in office, when the federal tax credit was still in effect, and now it finds itself in a totally new environment where the tax credit's gone, President Trump's in office, won't be bringing it back anytime soon, so maybe it doesn't see a future for this model. In fact, while the original plan was to just build electric vehicles in Kansas, Chevrolet recently announced it's going to be adding Chevrolet Equinox production here and not the Equinox EV, the internal combustion engine model, which is currently built in Mexico. Which is where it also builds the Equinox EV, which has a starting price of $36,495 for 2026 for a model that has 319 miles of range. That's a lot more range than the new Bolt, and it's a bigger vehicle and not a very big jump to get there. In fact, Chevrolet originally planned to offer the Equinox EV in a 250-mile version that was going to be priced closer to $30,000, but canceled that when it decided to bring the Bolt back. But now the EV market is so in flux, there's really no way to predict what's going to happen next. But even though there may be a sibling rivalry with the Equinox EV, it's not actually the Bolt's toughest competition. That might end up being the new 2026 Nissan Leaf, which has a starting price of $31,485, and that's imported from Japan. For that, you can get a Leaf S Plus with 214 horsepower and 303 miles of range. And it also has the Tesla-style charging input. It takes about 35 minutes to charge that to 80%, but because its battery pack is larger than the Bolt's. Nissan is going to be adding an even lower priced Leaf S next year, although it hasn't said exactly what the price is going to be or what the range will be. Along with not confirming how long the Bolt's going to be on sale, Chevrolet hasn't offered any predictions about how many it expects to sell, but its best year was 62,000 in 2023. Of course, back then, the even lower priced Bolt EV was also available, as were the tax credits. Interestingly, the Bolt is now the lowest priced vehicle made in America by an American brand. That title had been held by the Kentucky-built Ford Escape, which starts at $31,845. Both of them are far from the cheapest vehicles made in the USA. However, that would be the Toyota Corolla, which starts at $23,290 these days. And as far as affordable US-built electric vehicles are concerned, Tesla also introduced a couple this week. It has new Model 3 and Model Y standard trims, although they cost quite a bit more than the Bolt. Model 3 standard starts at $38,630 and the Model Y $41,630. They're not all new vehicles, they're just lower content trims of the existing vehicles, but they're both rated for 321 miles of range. And come pretty well equipped, as long as you like textile upholstery, manually adjustable steering wheels, and can live without AM or FM radio. Tesla also did a strange thing with the Model Y standard. Model Ys all come with a glass roof, a panoramic glass roof that you can see through, but this one's you can't. It put up a permanent headliner to cover it, but left the glass in place. Apparently it did this for a number of reasons. The one-piece headliner is cheaper to install than the one that frames the glass. It got rid of the double laminated sound insulating glass in the windows, so it added more sound insulation up there. And also keeps the cabin cooler, so the climate control system doesn't have to work as hard, and it can be more efficient. A lot of people were disappointed by the price points. They were hoping for something closer to $35,000 or even less than that, but this is where Tesla ended up. And there hasn't been any talk lately about the $25,000 car it once said it would build, possibly in Mexico. Looks like Tesla's given up on that in favor of launching the two-seat fully autonomous robotaxi, possibly sometime this year. As far as what Chevrolet's next electric vehicle is gonna be, that's hard to say. It's got the Bolt, it's got the Equinox, it has the Blazer EV, and then the Chevrolet Silverado EV pickups. There are no plans for a fully electric version of the Corvette, so other than a 3-row crossover, it's got pretty much every segment covered right now, and it hasn't been talking about launching one of those. The only 3-row electric crossover General Motors makes right now is the Cadillac Vistic. If anything changes with Chevrolet's electric vehicle plans, or any of its vehicle plans, we'll let you know. In fact, we're still waiting to hear about its new NASCAR car that's going to be launching for the 2026 season, which may be very different than the Camaro today, although we have no idea what it's going to be, so it's unclear what model it's going to design it to look like. When we find out about that or any other new Chevrolet, we'll let you know, so please like this video and subscribe and check out American Cars and Racing Every Day for the latest Chevrolet news.